What if Naruto was an Uchiha Part 2? Let's go. Now, the three brothers of the Uchiha, Sasuke, Itachi, and Naruto, were happy at the time, but were about to face challenges that they couldn't even imagine. Over the coming months and years, tensions between the Uchiha and Konoha itself started to rise more and more. They were already pretty high after the Nine-Tails attack, due to the Uchiha being blamed for the Nine-Tails, as everything was at the time. But now, with Minato's death, Minato being the main person to calm down and strive for peace inside Konoha, times were getting rough, and Danzo was not making it easier for the Uchiha. Peace talks didn't go well, and Fugaku was an arrogant man. Not really arrogant, but very stubborn. And whilst he did love his family, he didn't want to give up his freedom to please the Konoha and its leaders. He wanted to lead his people to greatness, even if that meant conflict would arise. And even though it would be them against the entire village, it's not as bad as it sounds. The Uchiha are extremely powerful, especially the new generation proving to be powerful as well, and learning things at a very young age, including unlocking the Sharingan earlier and earlier, with Shisui and Itachi being the biggest prodigies of the Uchiha at the time. Itachi has now also gotten his Sharingan from a mission that he did where both of his teammates died. This being both of his Genin teammates, but still, he did unlock their Sharingan from that. Now, before we move to some action, it is important to notice that Naruto isn't quite normal. Yes, he is an Uchiha, obviously, that's the name of the story, but the Kurama inside him is a little bit different. He doesn't have the evil side, he has all of it, which might sound bad at first. It's twice as much Kurama, more Nine-Tails, but the other half that he now gets is happy. Not necessarily loving of humans, but not hating. It's tolerating. It's appreciating. It's a much kinder side than the other. And that makes Naruto generally a much happier person. And Kurama also allows Naruto to actually use his chakra, which makes Naruto quite a prodigy as well. As in the original, the biggest thing obstructing Naruto's path to becoming a really good shinobi was Kurama obstructing his chakra. And that was the main thing why he didn't do so well in the academy and the clone jutsu and all that stuff. But basically, Naruto has the entire Kurama, which, at least for now, doesn't obstruct his chakra at all. And Naruto has gotten a few visions of Kurama. Now, they didn't really talk much, but Naruto has seen Kurama's face, and for some reason the name Kurama has also popped into his head a couple of times, always when he saw the nine-tailed fox. Now, he was a little bit scared, as it always seemed like a nightmare, but somehow it was always the same room that he entered while sleeping. But he decided not to tell his family, neither Itachi, Sasuke, or Shisui, which he trusted most, or his mother or father, which he still didn't know were his adoptive parents, not his real ones. Though that would all change when he would finally have a real conversation with the tailed beast. At first, it was a little shaky. Naruto was scared, and the tailed beast didn't really know what to say. But as things picked up, they both got more relaxed, and surely said what needed to be said. Kurama explained that, sadly, he killed Naruto's parents, and it wasn't on purpose. But Naruto was kind of baffled at the idea that he wasn't actually Fugaku and Mikoto's son, and he wasn't actually Sasuke and Itachi's brother. It took a moment to sink in. Naruto wasn't too old yet, so he didn't really understand. But it was just kind of weird. It made Naruto feel lonely, which I can understand. But Kurama lifted Naruto's chin up again, making him feel even just a little better, talking to him about the fact that his family still loves him, even if they're not genetically related. By the way, at this point, Naruto was about 6 years old, so it was still long before he would even join the academy. But Kurama, after not only telling Naruto his name, but also deciding that Naruto is a worthy candidate for his powers, decided to, without even telling his host, slowly but surely let through more and more chakra, without it corrupting Naruto, but letting Naruto's chakra reserves grow, and letting him use more power. Truly exploit the tailed beast's power, but with his consent. They started talking more and more regularly, and almost every night at some point. Naruto loved talking to Kurama, and Kurama didn't really have much to do, though he still appreciated the talks that he had with Naruto. Couldn't talk with anyone else, so... Now, it is to be said, Naruto is pretty strong at this point. About 3 months had passed since Naruto and Kurama's first true talk, and Naruto has seen great improvements since then, especially in the chakra side of things. His control has been much better, and of course he's gotten a huge amount of surplus of chakra now, with Kurama always pumping more and more chakra into Naruto. His clones are much stronger. Yeah, they're actually stronger, which is kind of weird since clones are usually illusions. But Naruto's found that with enough energy, he can make his clones almost materialize into an actual thing, being able to actually take a punch and deal damage to an opponent. But he's not quite there yet, and if you don't get what I'm hinting at, he is almost making his own kind of shadow clone jutsu, but he's definitely struggling. But he is only 6, so it kinda makes sense. It is an advanced level jutsu. Of course, Itachi and Shisui have been getting much stronger because they are obviously older than Naruto. But Sasuke, once he hasn't been slacking off, he is much weaker than any of them. Sasuke is far behind Naruto on things such as the fireball jutsu, clone jutsu, kunai throwing, all of that combined. Sasuke isn't bad, obviously. For his age, he's still a prodigy. But comparing him to Naruto or Itachi at the edge, Sasuke is nowhere close. Now, especially after Naruto found out that he isn't technically related to Itachi and Sasuke, he's got even closer to Shisui, now seeing him as a brother. Kind of like Itachi, but just like Itachi. Believing that since neither Itachi nor Shisui are related to him, he can equally like them. Which, I kinda see where he's coming from. They're both just friends, technically, so why not get closer to both of them? Now, it is important to be said that Naruto has been kind of experiencing the whole conflict with Uchiha and Konoha on the side. He sometimes hear Fugaku talking about it with Mikoto and some other guests when they're over at their house, but also from Shisui and Itachi, with both of them now being full-fledged shinobi, and actually both of them being Anbu. And of course, Anbu get a lot of stuff, a lot of information that normal citizens wouldn't. And they're quite open about it, since they know Naruto would never say anything to anyone else, and they trust Naruto. And I mean, there's nothing crazy that they know that they could tell Naruto that would mess something up. So it's not bad. Naruto just kind of finds things out as Itachi and Shisui talk about them. But Naruto is concerned. He doesn't want a war or a civil war inside Konoha, because he doesn't actually quite understand that, but he understands that people would die, and he doesn't want his family to die at all. which is why he's been training extra hard lately to even protect his older brothers, Shisui and Itachi. Now realistically, that would never happen. They're both much stronger than Naruto, but in his mind, he wants to. Shisui, who is still both Itachi and Naruto's mentor, now changed up Naruto's training regimen. Before, he was kind of free to do whatever he wanted. Obviously, he still got guidance by Shisui, but if he wanted to practice his jutsu, he was allowed to. If he wanted to practice his physical abilities, his taijutsu, whatever, he was allowed to. But now that he was soon in a year, but still soon, going to go to the academy, Shisui wanted to take matters into his own hand and actually prepare Naruto for his life in the academy and even beyond as a genin and even chunin later on, as he had faith that Naruto would become a very high-ranking shinobi. He saw much potential in him, and even at his young age, he was very talented. It was a brutal training, and for the first time ever, Naruto actually learned taijutsu techniques. These were techniques that Shisui used regularly in the Anbu, actual martial arts, not just randomly kicking and punching the air or a tree, but actually learning techniques, certain movements to block, dodge, and annihilate the opponent. Now, first Naruto did this normally, like any of us would, without any kind of chakra, but then without Shisui telling him to, he started to implement his chakra. He got more friction on the ground, allowing him to stop and speed up faster by using chakra in his feet, which what he learned in tree walking and water walking. He was also able to jump higher and do crazy maneuvers by using his chakra in his legs and pushing off the ground with much greater force. Now, one day, whilst Naruto and Shisui were sparring, only using their martial arts, no chakra at all and no weapons, Itachi slowly walked over. He was crying, and Shisui stopped the sparring match. He asked Itachi if he wanted to talk, and they both agreed. And they used an Anbu ability which Naruto didn't understand, the body flicker, to seemingly teleport. There, Itachi explained his worries about a recent mission where he had to kill someone, but not only that, he was worried about the recent developments in Konoha and so on and so forth. The mission was just an opening for all those emotions to dwell up, as Itachi always tried to suppress his emotions to be the best Anbu, the best shinobi he could. And after having been gone for over 5 minutes, Naruto was getting worried, and he started crying, and crying, and crying, and he was worried. He started to think, what if something happened? What if things were really now starting to get worse and worse? And then he fell asleep. He cried so much that his body stopped working. But without talking to Kurama, as he usually would if he loses consciousness, he suddenly woke up again. The sun still in the same position, the trees even looking the exact same, so no time seemed to have passed at all. They were still the same kids playing on the river, so mere minutes could have passed, perhaps even less. And somehow, Naruto could look into the river perfectly. It was crystal clear, and he could even see his own reflection 100 meters away. But when he looked at his face, there was something off about it. His eyes, they were red. They were a Sharingan. That's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.